wonderful it is, how joyful it is to be here present today. Today, as we gather together, the Sunday after Thanksgiving, we take time to breathe in the view. That is our monthly theme, and our talk title today is Gratitude Beyond Gifts. Gratitude beyond gifts. And so we get to decide who it is that we have come here to be, and to be grateful in that. I'm grateful for this opportunity to be here this year we have celebrated this evolutionary vision and the timeless wisdom. So we've been on an amazing upward evolutionary journey this year. And in celebration of reaching the summit as we near the end of the year, let us stop and breathe in the view. So we breathe in the view, appreciating the expansiveness of our growth and development along the way. It's been quite a year. We live from that higher consciousness. We reflect the timeless wisdom of the journey, and we recognize this is not yet the final destination of our spiritual evolution. We still have a ways to go. And see, living in this mystical journey, we cultivate a deeper gratitude for that which is seen, unseen, heard, unheard along our path of becoming. And so our evolutionary vision is a statement from the global vision. And this is it. It says, we envision humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence and discovering the creative power of thought. This is a world where every person discovers his or her own personal power and the ability to create an individual life that works within a world that works for everyone. And our timeless wisdom, the highest God and the innermost God is one God. And we believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. So the question for today is, who have I come here to be? A light for justice, a light for hope, a light for peace and love. And this is who we've come here to be. We've come here to be, not to do. So as we give thanks over Thanksgiving, we're thinking about, oh, I'm grateful about my friends, my family, maybe my home, maybe the opportunity to gather together this year. But what about giving thanks for who we are and who we have come here to be? See, autumn is typically a time for harvest in our hemisphere, and so we're grateful for the harvest. We're grateful for all of those things that have come to us in any way, shape, or form. The harvest of the pumpkins, and the harvest of the corn, and the harvest of the family and friends. And so we give thanks at this time for all of the challenges, the triumphs, the opportunities, the actions, the shifts in our life, the changes, those pivotal moments when we're able to turn, and our growth. And the growth not only of ourselves, also the growth for the Austin Center for Spiritual Living, while we have experienced on this path. And so we are growing, and we invite you to grow with us. Ernest Holmes tells us this in Science of Mind. He said, the sum total of all erroneous human beliefs binds until the individual mentally lifts himself up above the law of averages into the higher law of spiritual individualism. And so we take a moment to breathe in that view, that view that we have above the everyday goings on in our life. So as we take a moment to appreciate and honor what has occurred this year, we give thanks, yes, and we express gratitude for all of it. And notice how as we breathe in that gratitude, it shifts our perspective. We breathe in the gratitude, maybe of something at the time we didn't think was that great. But because we express the gratitude, it lifts our consciousness higher and gives us a clearer perspective of that spiritual truth, which is always operating. And yes, the journey continues. See, we're on a continuous upward spiral of evolution. And in the spiral, yes, there are challenges. But as we evolve, we face them from a higher place on that spiral. And we view them from a higher place in consciousness. And so the higher we lift our consciousness, the clearer we see the truth. As I was thinking about Kit's talk from last week, what came up for me then was this idea of being grateful in the moment for everything that happens. And I remember when I first moved to Austin, we had a car that I was driving in, and I had a little accident, just a little accident. But I thought, oh, I better get that fixed. And I was out here in Austin before Rob came to join me. And so I got it fixed. And oh my goodness, the vehicle looked beautiful. It was perfect, nice finish on it. Everything that they repaired was absolutely perfect. And I was just so happy to be able to show it off to my dear sweet husband who was coming out to visit for the weekend. And then we enjoyed it for the weekend. He flew back to San Diego. And while he was doing that, I was just so grateful. I was in such wonderful mood and feeling good. And so I wrote a note of gratitude to a musician who I love. And I was taking it to the mailbox. And I totaled the car. And in that moment, my first thought was, I wonder what good is going to come out of this. Because that was the time when I just completed my practitioner studies and I was really high on life and I was seeing things from that higher consciousness. And so what good is going to come from this? And so I made a list. As things unfolded over the next few weeks, I made a list of what good came from it. And it was marvelous. What a wonderful experience. And it could have been a disaster. You know, it could have taken me down into, oh my gosh, am I in the right place? Is this the right time? Maybe I should just, move back. And why do I want to start this new life here? I could have gone that direction, but I didn't. I went to, I wonder what good is coming from this. And so as we recognize that we have a choice, the mystics have known throughout the ages that there is a divine connection, and each generation, each person actually has to discover that ancient wisdom for themselves. I had to discover it for myself. And this golden thread of truth runs throughout time, and we interpret it in our time and how it is in our life. Rumi tells us there is a force within that gives you life. Seek that. I was reading this week about Thanksgiving and I ran across an article in a blog that I get called Daily Good. And this is by Paul C. Pritchard. And this is what he writes. He writes, it's Thanksgiving time, the holiday of humility, togetherness, the holidays that ask us to look within toward gratitude. And it reminds us to give, to make amends, to repair the ruptured friendships and family ties. It leans into sustenance and nourishment. The table becomes the altar. The family become precious guests. And around the table, there's a feeling of remembrance of our true nature. And we're asked to put differences aside and become one, to lean into unity, peace, and love. In Thanksgiving, the definition is the act of giving thanks, an expression of thanks, a public celebration and acknowledgement of the divine favor or kindness, a day set aside for giving thanks to God. But here's the thing. I sometimes wonder, in all the feasting and the busyness, the preparation and the listing of what I'm grateful for, how much time is there for that true contemplation? So, of course, we hear more and more about random acts of kindness, paying it forward, and just anonymous altruism. And it's so exciting that this is part of our life now. But what about, instead of listing all the things we're grateful for, which really does help us maintain a true sense of perspective, what about look to the essential qualities within each other? So Pritchard asked us this. He said, how might it be if we took time to look at thanks being? So he defines thanksgiving. He said, this is an act, or he defines thanks being. This is an act of contemplation for the restoration and benefit of Mother Earth, an exploration of qualities within ourselves which support unity, peace, love. Thanks being a public celebration and recognition of one another's unique essence. Thanks being a day set apart for actively giving thanks just for being. And it's when we ask these questions, who have we come here to be? Not what have we come to do, what have we come to have, but who have we come here to be? It's never about what we have or what we do. It's about how we navigate through this life, how we hold ourselves in times of growth and expansion, as well as pain and contraction. It's our essential qualities, our divine essence, that are the pillars of our individual lives. Again, Rumi tells us, everything you see has roots in the unseen world. The forms may change, yet the essence remains the same. Every wonderful sight will vanish. Every sweet word will fade. But do not be disheartened. The source they come from is eternal, growing, branching out, giving new life and new joy. Why do you weep? The source is within you, and this whole world is springing up from it. I like to think about that. I have a tradition at this time of the year. I have an amaryllis. And this amaryllis is encased in wax. And what I love about that is that everything that is necessary for its total and complete evolution is already contained within it. There's nothing that I need to do. I don't need to encourage it to grow. It's got everything already within it. And I think that's true for each person. Everything is already within it, as we are sourced by that one source, this eternal spiral. And I think about, well, what is this amaryllis come here to do? It's come here to blossom. But what has it come here to be? It's come here to be beauty. It's come here to be a representation of hope. As it grows quickly. And actually, you can watch it grow. It'll grow 3 or 4 inches over a week. And it's a miracle. And so its beingness is inspiration to me. It is a beneficial presence. So as we strive to be a beneficial presence in the universe, then we think, what is the universe wanting to manifest through me? How am I showing up as an activity of God? And then knowing that so much good has already been materialized in miraculous and excellent ways, we move into confidence with the next part of our journey. What is it? So we give thanks for this perfect unfolding, the unfolding in beauty. And we know that the highest and greatest good for all concerned is manifesting under grace and in perfect ways. It's like the sun. The sun shines beautifully on all. It gives without attachment. It gives no matter whether the person is basking in the warmth of the sun, or it gives if the person is shading themselves from the sun. The sun is still giving. And so we're grateful for that. And to be grateful in everything. I just imagine this idea that, well, if I went to heaven, and we know heaven is within us, but if I went to heaven, and just the concept, and an angel was showing me around, I just imagine this, and we walk into this large workroom. It's filled with angels, and they're busy. They're very busy. And the angel says, "Okay, this is the receiving section. Here, all petitions uh, and prayers are received." And it's so busy, and so many angels are sorting out petitions written on paper, sheets, and scraps from people. That was before they had computers. And then we walk down a long corridor until we reach the second station. And the second station says, "Okay, this is the packaging and delivery section. Here, the graces and blessings that people ask for are processed and delivered to the people who asked for them." And again, very, very busy. And then finally, at the farthest end of the corridor, there's a door of a very small station, and there's only one angel seated there and not really doing much. "This is the acknowledgement section," my angel friend quietly admitted to me. I said, "Well, how is it there's no work doing here?" "Well, after people receive the blessings they asked for, very few send back acknowledgments." And I said, "Well, how does one acknowledge blessings?" "Well, it's simple. Just say thank you." As Reverend Rainbow said, if the only prayer we said was thank you, that would be it. So let us move into a time of gratitude. Let's just do a gratitude meditation, because gratitude elevates perspective. And not only for things we have, but let's go for gratitude of who we are. So let's just, for the next few minutes, a few moments, just get into a quiet space and close your eyes if you like. Settle into the chair and let that chair completely support you. And let us move into that attitude of gratitude as we take a few deep, slow breaths. And then simply be with yourself, identifying, being grateful for all the aspects of you that are so amazing. And there are many of them, my friend. And for the time, please just release any self-judgment. And if something like that comes up, then lovingly, gently invite it to go away. So in these moments, only focus on what is good. Focus on what is so good, so very, very good about you. And I'll be quiet for a moment so you can think of at least 5 things that you celebrate about yourself. And now turn your attention to your life and simply identify and be grateful for the aspects of your life that are so amazing. And just for this moment, just release any complaints about your life and come into the idea, what in my life is just amazing? And focus on what is good, so very, very good about your life. And as before, I'm going to be quiet for just a moment. 5 things that are good about your life. And finally, let us spend the next few moments in silence, being grateful for the power, the presence, the divine that fills every space, that is everything, and that is always, always conspiring for your good. And let us be grateful for that. So I invite you to practice today, no matter what condition you find yourself in, to move to a state of gratitude. And just if you think of just one thing you're thankful for about yourself, your beingness. It might be a small thing, it might just be the ability to breathe, which is for some people a very big thing. And just allow that to shift your perspective and just focus on it until you're permeated with gratitude. And do that a couple times today. You know, it's your inner state is what matters. And in that inner state, let's just be thankful for today, for ourselves, for the being, for the ability to be that activity of spirit on earth. And as we acknowledge that good, it is that foundation for everything else that is coming to us. Wallace D. Wattles says, the reason is the mental attitude of gratitude draws the mind into close touch with the source from which blessings come. And so if you think about those things, the gratitude that you have for those things that you might have asked for in your life, have you indeed acknowledged that? Have you given thanks to Spirit for all that is in your life? So first we appreciate what we have, who we are, how we be, and then we celebrate. It's important to celebrate who we are, to celebrate because we are the star stuff of Spirit. We are love, power, peace, and joy. Yes. And then we demonstrate. So we appreciate, we celebrate, and we demonstrate. So we're invited to hold a new awareness of ourselves. We're spiritual beings having a spiritual experience in a spiritual world which operates according to spiritual law. So here's the question. Are we willing to let gratitude, joy, and a vision of what's possible be the tools that we choose and use for transformation? Are we willing to keep tilling the soil, that is, keep nurturing our consciousness in order to experience more of our own magnificence? And are we willing to live our values and beliefs out loud so that we actually participate in creating a world that works for everyone? See, we are the hands, we are the feet, we're the voice of spirit on earth. And so it's up to us. So we appreciate, we celebrate, and we demonstrate that spiritual nature of who and what we are. And so let us take this into our prayer today, into our treatment. Oh, so I invite you again in the silence to just let go of everything that has come before. Let go of everything that will come after and be in this present, in this moment, recognizing one power, one presence, one infinite source, one divine mind, one creative intelligence, by whatever name we call it. It is more than that. And yet it is closer than hands and feet. It is that divine moving through us, in us, for us, as us today. And so today we welcome with gratitude and with joy as our compass, we choose to gracefully navigate this flow of life. We live seasons of possibility and purpose, and we are ready and willing to listen to that infinite invisible, to allow that to be our guide. And it calls us, and we hear that siren song of who we have come here to be. And with a new faith in our innate gifts and divine identity, we turn and face that sun that is always giving. And we appreciate, we celebrate, we demonstrate the glorious aspects of this life's journey with a hint of new dreams, emergence of the beauty and the fullness of harvest. We embrace the perfect and that perfect imperfection of it all. And so with gratitude, with full heart, knowing that this day unfolds in perfect right order, in divine right timing, we just say thank you, thank you, thank you. And as we do, we release this word into the law that has already said yes, that has already said yes. And so in gratitude, we let it be. And I invite you to join me as together we affirm this by saying, and so it is.